If the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him, is that within his official acts for which he can get immunity?
It would depend on the hypothetical, but we can see that could well be an official act.
It could, and why? Because he's doing it for personal reasons.
Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Welcome to day 1192. Former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker returned to the stand on the seventh day of Trump's election interference trial involving falsified business records. Pecker testified that he spoke with Trump and Michael Cohen about paying Karen McDougal $150,000 to keep her story of an affair she had with Trump quiet ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Pecker said, "We didn't want the story to embarrass Mr. Trump or embarrass or hurt the campaign." Michael Cohen told Pecker he should pay the fee to kill the story, which prompted Pecker to ask who would reimburse him. Cohen allegedly told Pecker, "Don't worry, the boss will take care of you," which Pecker said he took to mean either Trump or the Trump organization would pay him back. Pecker also testified that he knew that Cohen didn't have the authorization to buy, to acquire, or spend any money without Trump's prior approval. The payment to McDougal was disguised as a deal for her to write a health and fitness column and appear on magazine covers, which Pecker acknowledged was unlawful. Trump is facing 34 charges of falsifying business records to cover up hush money payments made by Michael Cohen. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court appeared likely to reject Trump's claim of absolute immunity from prosecution for his attempts to subvert the 2020 election, but did appear open to granting some level of immunity to former presidents for crimes committed while in office. Trump's attorneys argued that his efforts to overturn the 2020 election were official acts taken in office, but they did concede that some of the alleged conduct supporting the criminal charges against Trump were private. Chief Justice John Roberts raised the prospect of returning the case to the appeals court to distinguish between Trump's official acts as president and his private and personal actions, a result that could jeopardize the ability to hold a trial before the November election. Justice Brett Kavanaugh said, "I'm not focused on the here and now of this case. I'm very concerned about the future." While Justice Neil Gorsuch added, "I'm not as concerned about this case so much as a future one. We're writing a rule for the ages." Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, meanwhile, said the most powerful person in the world could go into office knowing that there would be no potential penalty for committing crimes. What disincentive is there for turning the Oval Office into the seat of criminality in this country? Moving on, a grand jury in Arizona indicted 18 Trump allies, including Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, and Boris Epshteyn, on felony charges related to their efforts to overturn Trump's 2020 election loss in the state. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays said a state grand jury approved criminal charges against 11 Republicans who submitted a certificate falsely declaring that they were duly elected and qualified electors, and claiming that Trump won the state. The document was sent to Congress and the National Archives, where it was ignored. Meadows, Giuliani, Epshteyn, Jenna Ellis, John Eastman, and Christina Bobb, as well as Mike Roman, were also accused of aiding the unsuccessful fake elector schemes to award the state's electoral votes to Trump instead of Biden. The indictment also describes Trump as an unindicted co-conspirator. Arizona joins Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada in bringing charges against these fake electors. Meanwhile, a federal judge upheld the verdict and the $83 million in damages awarded to writer E. Jean Carroll by a jury that found Trump liable for defamation in January. Judge Lewis Kaplan also rejected Trump's request for a new trial, writing that Trump's argument is entirely without merit both as a matter of law and as a matter of fact. And finally, the EPA issued a new rule requiring coal-fired power plants to capture 90% of their carbon dioxide emissions or shut down. The new rules are expected to cut 1.4 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions, roughly equivalent to the entire power sector emissions of 2022. When burned, coal emits more carbon dioxide than any other fuel source, and power plants are the second largest source of greenhouse gas emissions behind transportation.
That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditas.